is mad. Yes, so Hairless here. Today we are back with YAMANDU COSTA. This is our 5th reaction to him. It's a song called Sarara. In the recommendations for this song that I received, I've been told that he sings and whistles in it. One commenter said that YAMANDU himself becomes the music, which is very, very intriguing. Another commenter gave a bit of context for this song, which is that YAMANDU sent one of his albums to his grandma. She said, "What's this album? It's all intros." She probably wasn't used to instrumental music. So he wrote this song where he sings a little. Because he sings, I have looked up the lyrics. I couldn't find any pre-translated lyrics into English. So here is the translation from Google Translate. Sarara. What does it mean? The translation, it says the same word. Google says a couple of different things. 1, princess. 2, it says that in Brazil, it means a multiracial person with a specific racial makeup. There's some interesting information on the Wikipedia page. If it means neither of these things and is perhaps a colloquial term, please let me know. I couldn't find much else online. And finally, on screen now, you can see the description of this video that YAMANDU has written himself. Let's get straight into it.
Olha que a noite já vem, olha que o tempo fechou, olha que a estrada tá vindo no cavalo baio sarará. Olha que a noite já vem, olha que o tempo fechou, olha que a estrada tá vindo no cavalo baio sarará. Aquela estrada distante, onde não passa ninguém, ouço o barulho dos cascos do cavalo baio sarará.
Oh, well, who was expecting that? I love the melody. So much rhythmic drive and energy in it. That was not singing I was expecting, but I'll come to that in a second. So let's go over and analyse what we've heard so far. If you don't want to hear my analysis, go to the timestamp here. Let's go straight back to the beginning. His hands. How smooth is that? When you hear that, with your eyes shut, I'm imagining intense finger plucking. Let's watch that in slow-mo because it's so smooth. You can see how he slides to play 2 notes with 1 pluck, just by moving fret. Very efficient and helps to create the smooth feel. Then that run ends with harmonics, but it sounded like they're tuned to an open stringed guitar, so no frets being played. So like this. But because they're harmonics, they sound a lot higher at the top instead of. And he has an A as his lowest 7th note. So the build-up sounds like this, with each note being a guitar string. And then the 7th string at the bottom. And it's cool how he mutes a couple of the strings as well. Harmonically, things are very interesting. He's keeping it quite uncertain, a bit ambiguous. You know, we've got some dissonances in there. The standout notes to me from that are these. This augmented chord with that in there too. It's very striking. And we've had a nice contrast in there of all these rapid single note runs versus strummed chords constantly back and forth between them. One thing about YAMANDU from the little I've heard of him is that we know he loves his musical motifs, these musical ideas. They appear throughout each song. Each song has its own ideas, and often, at least from what I've heard, they contain chromaticism. Let's listen to the bass part here, the lowest sounding pitches that we can hear. That's the harmonic foundation underneath everything. And what do we hear? We hear this. So we're moving up, and then it starts descending. It would not be a YAMANDU performance without these chromatics in there. That's definitely a motif to look out for. For example, we got it later on. Also, from the bit I was playing, I like how we get this repeated over and over. Repetition, intrinsically, it's catchy, it's easy to remember, it sticks with us even if it's very, very subtle like it is here. Oh, okay, and then after that we get these two chords. Juicy chords. If we listen to it, every note is played is higher than the previous note, so he's moving up, except for the penultimate and the pre-penultimate notes. See how he goes down before then jumping up for the last note? It's just for a little bit of difference in motion, a slight irregularity, and I think it really makes it much more interesting than just having a chord moving up all the way to the top. And of course the following two chords as well. So we get these nice chords, perhaps being lulled into a full sense of relaxation, because then, rhythmic change, rhythmic interlude. He's getting our attention, letting us know to be ready for what's to come, which is, well, I don't know if I could have been ready for that. I was not expecting any singing without musical underpinning. You know, it's just a beat and a voice. Objectively, I would prefer to have some guitar here, but contextually, I like it. It's definitely different, and it catches my attention. And introducing a vocal melody alone first, it's nice because when it comes later, it's enhanced with the addition of guitar and we're already familiar with the melody. And then he changes things up a bit again. We get this very chordal movement, which I like. It's restrictive and it lends a lot of our focus to his vocal line because we don't have this virtuosic guitar being played underneath. So we have now music with the voice, but he's still making sure that we're focusing on the voice, on the melody, on the words that he's singing. And again, to end the phrase, this is where we paused. We had that bass motif again. Alright, let's carry on. Nice whistle. I don't want to get carried away. I'm looking forward to that. Let's do our second pause here. There's always things to talk about with YAMANDU. To rewind a bit, from when we carried on, we moved into this section and it was very strummed, chord heavy, but the melody still shining through. Again, into that motif. Fast forward 10 seconds and then we're starting to break away harmonically as well. There, this minor third really, really sticking out. Hear that there? And then the musical, the voices or the different parts or lines or fingers, however you want to think of each one. I personally think of them as lines. Every part that we hear is its own independent line, and only when they all come together do we get this final product that as the music that we hear. It's the ability that he has to have such a contrast, especially dynamic contrast, between these lines at the same time. He's shaping this musical soundscape on many different levels simultaneously through just his fingers. It's mad. He is mad. And yeah, into that we start rising up. He's playing right at the bottom of his fretboard. I like it. I think it's quite quirky. And he obviously likes it too. I mean, of course he does. It's his own song. But he obviously likes it too because he's staying there. He's staying there for a while. You know, he's really making a point of being up there. We've had a lot of bass-heavy strumming so far, so I think this is a very cool contrasting section. But how about the descent down from there? The rhythm's obviously very nice, but it's really this repeated G that we hear. That is what's controlling this descent. It's a stubborn note, it refuses to move, and in doing so it acts as a bringer of both harmony and dissonance, because as the notes move around it and it refuses to move, we get clashes and then harmony and then clashes and then nice harmony. And we move back down towards the low registers, things starting to get a bit more hectic again. He knows it, and I think he's about to... And again, sticking out from amidst this kind of more chaotic music, what do we hear? Chromatic line. And it's working in opposite motion to the upper melody that we hear. So together... Right, well, that's where we got to. He was about to start whistling, so I think let's go from there until the end. YAMANDU, he's a guitar genius. No more words needed. I mean, let's go over and highlight some final things from that last section. Yeah, there's just always so much to listen out for with his guitar. Again, I've only heard him 5 times, but from what I've heard, and I've heard a good mix of things, a nice variety of styles as well. Alright, so to go back a bit. I don't really have a word to describe this section. It's making my heart, how I'm feeling, constantly change direction. You know, I feel like I'm floating. He's got this nice whistling going on, these luscious harmonies. But then, every other note, suddenly it seems as dissonant out of nowhere. There are these much darker undertones to the music. I'm a bit confused. How should that make me feel? And the fact he's whistling, we have no lyrics to cement or confirm our notion versus his. If he was singing life is amazing, life's beautiful, then great. Or if he was singing I hate life, it would be an indication of what he's feeling at this point. But we don't get that, so we're forced to make many more of our own emotional judgments. Conflict is the term that's being conjured in my head. I tell you what, he's a good whistler though. Wow, it's like a bird. I'm not really surprised though, he is a musical genius after all. Again, we get another... I do like the melody, or melodies even. The various different parts, I think they're very, very catchy. So we've obviously got that bass motif, the chromatic one that we've spoken about before, but all the other parts as well. All working so nicely together. I just love his music from what I've heard so far. There are always so many things to be listening out for to keep us engaged. This is me from the future editing the video. One of my clips was corrupt, so I'm including it again now. I said that his singing, even though it's a fast tempo with quick lyrics, I weirdly find it quite soothing. Maybe it's his tone and his genuineness. He has a straight tone voice, you know, nothing too fancy. Then things get a bit more hectic towards the end. Rhythms are definitely taking the forefront here. And then we get this nice, very subtle dynamic decrease, so everything getting a bit quieter, but just for a split second. Because then we get this big ending. He repeats Sarah, 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 Sarah to really drive home the idea of the full and chromatic motif. Yeah, what a guy, what a guitar player, what a musician in general. Don't think we need to say anything more. Thank you to everyone who recommended that. Do let me know down in the comments other reactions you'd like me to do of Yamandu in the future. As always, thank you very much for watching. Would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you enjoy my content, want to support me, join the community and vote on future polls, you can do so by joining the YouTube membership or Patreon linked below, and I will see you next time.